Welcome back to The Explainer. So today, we're taking a look at a story that, honestly, people almost always misremember. Margaret Mitchell's Gone with the Wind is super famous as this sweeping historical romance, right? But when you actually look closely at the source text, it reveals something much, much darker. It's actually a profound psychological study of power, destruction, and ultimately, survival. We're going to look at the crucible that forged one of literature's most unforgettable and, let's be real, complicated characters, Scarlett O'Hara. Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand Scarlett, we have to start with the haunting question that's right in front of us. What happens when survival costs you everything you thought you loved? It's kind of a terrifying thought, but it forms the absolute core of our main character's journey. War changes nations, sure, and love certainly changes people, but that sheer, raw instinct to survive, that changes absolutely everything. Part 1, the pre-war illusion. So, our story opens at a wealthy plantation called Tara. Scarlett is basically every man in the county wrapped around her little finger, except for one. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast between the two men who define her life. First, you have Ashley Wilkes. He's noble, he's educated, he's calm. But here's the catch. He's engaged to someone else, the sweet, innocent Melanie Hamilton. Ashley basically represents a pure illusion to Scarlett. She completely refuses to accept reality and just convinces herself he secretly loves her. And then you have Rhett Butler. He is this mysterious, sarcastic, super confident outsider. Rhett is actually the only person who witnesses Scarlett getting rejected by Ashley. And instead of being repelled by her behavior, he's fascinated. Rhett sees her exactly for what she is: selfish, passionate, dangerous. And he loves her for it. This fatal flaw, chasing an illusion while completely ignoring reality, sets the stage for the entire story. Part 2, the fire of Atlanta. Well, that glamorous, insulated world doesn't last. The American Civil War erupts, and you can see on this timeline just how rapidly the innocence of the South is stripped away. First, there's this blinding sense of pride and excitement. Scarlett impulsively marries Melanie's brother, Charles, mostly just out of spite over Ashley. The tragedy strikes fast. Charles dies of illness. Boom. Scarlett is abruptly widowed and trapped in these mourning clothes she absolutely hates. The reality of war hits incredibly hard as the South collapses. Scarcity sets in, wounded soldiers flood the streets, and then we hit the climax of this era. Atlanta burns. The Union forces attack, and in one of the most intense sequences you could imagine, Scarlett actually has to deliver Melanie's baby amidst explosions and screaming terror. And who rescues them from the flames? Rhett Butler, navigating this desperate, adrenaline-fueled escape right out of the burning city. Part 3, the vow of survival. So Rhett leaves them at the very last minute to join the Confederate Army, and Scarlett makes this absolutely grueling journey back home to Tara. But she finds her sanctuary completely devastated. The fields are empty, the food is gone, the servants have fled. Her mother has passed away, and her father has completely lost his grip on reality. For the very first time in her incredibly privileged life, Scarlett is starving. She is entirely, completely desperate. And this shock fundamentally rewires her brain. It leads to this cinematic, massive quote, "As God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again." Take a second to really think about that. This is the exact moment the innocent Southern belle dies and a ruthless, calculating survivor is born. She swears this promise to herself, and it becomes the absolute driving force for the rest of her entire life. Part 4, the cost of ambition. Driven by that vow, Scarlett throws the societal rulebook completely out the window. If you look at the steps on this slide, the lengths she goes to are just staggering, especially for a woman in the 1860s. First, she physically works the ruined fields herself, breaking literally every rule of high society. When that's not enough to pay the massive taxes on Tara, she actually marries her own sister's fiancé, Frank Kennedy, purely for his money. It is incredibly ruthless. Then, she takes over and runs these scandalous lumber businesses, fiercely managing them herself. Society criticizes her constantly, but you know what? She truly doesn't care. Love and morality are out. Wealth and survival are in. Part 5, a tragic awakening. As time goes on, Scarlett becomes richer, stronger, and emotionally much colder. Eventually, she marries the one man who actually understands her dark side, Rhett. But it's far from a fairy tale. It's explosive. It's toxic. For a brief window, they do actually find happiness in their daughter Bonnie.
Rhett absolutely adores her. She is his emotional anchor. But then tragedy strikes. Bonnie dies in a horse riding accident. It completely shatters Rhett. It destroys him emotionally and tears their marriage apart. Shortly after that, the pure-hearted Melanie becomes severely ill. And it is right here on her deathbed that Melanie reveals a devastating truth to Scarlett. Melanie tells her that Rhett is the one who has truly loved her all along.
And this slide brilliantly illustrates the tragic irony of her life. For years, she obsessively chased an illusion, blinding herself to reality. She convinced herself she loved Ashley when she really just loved the fantasy of him. Now, she is hit with the crushing weight of the truth. The man who matched her fire and understood her flaws all along was Rhett. Think about how universally painful that is. Finally understanding your true feelings only after spending years chasing a total lie.
Part 6. Legacy of an Anti-Heroine.
Realizing her colossal mistake, Scarlett drops everything and rushes home, totally desperate to confess her love and save her marriage. But it is too late. Rhett is entirely emotionally exhausted. Years of her rejection, her manipulation, and the tragic heartbreak of losing their daughter have completely hollowed him out. And he delivers what is easily one of the most famous rejections in all of literary history. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It is a devastating blow from a man who loved her deeply, but simply could not endure her destructive nature for one more second. He just walks away. Scarlett collapses in despair. She's lost Rhett, she's lost her illusions, she is completely emotionally defeated. But here is why she's such an unforgettable character. Even at rock bottom, she refuses to completely break. She stands up, thinks of her land, Terra, the one thing that has always given her strength, and she utters this iconic line: "Tomorrow is another day." It's a stunning testament to her absolutely unbroken resilience. Before we wrap up, let's look at the core themes we've covered. This explainer shows exactly why the story is a legend. It holds a mirror up to the most timeless human emotions, our blinding obsessions, our ruinous pride, that terrifying instinct to survive at all costs, crushing regret, and that universally painful realization of understanding love only after you've lost it. Scarlett O'Hara is selfish, she's flawed, and she's incredibly complicated. But that is exactly what makes her a masterpiece of psychological depth. I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. After all the manipulation, the survival, and the tragedy, did Scarlett truly love Rhett in the end? Or was she simply desperately afraid of being alone when her illusions finally shattered? Take some time to reflect on that one. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.